Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are talking about a case that when I was researching, I was like, did this really happen? But then I read the articles, I read the source files, the Vanguard archival news, and I'm like, wild times. People be living in wild times in the past. And now in hindsight, it's kind of funny because I don't even know how to feel about this case. It's kind of funny now, but back then, people were living in terror. So I will stop talking too much and I will present the case to you. But before I get into it, disclaimer. Today's case is based entirely on historical records and newspapers. It involves violence, murder, and also theft. So if those are sensitive topics for you, please do something you love and I will see you in the next one. Take care of yourself. Today we're talking about a man that was nicknamed the law of the country because he was almost untouchable. He did a lot of wild things, crazy things, and he was afraid of no one. He would actually challenge the police. People were like, no one can stop this man. He's basically the law of the land. In dark corners, when 2 or 3 are gathered, only one man's name is on their lips. Everybody, the news, everywhere, one man's name is being mentioned by old, by young, by men, by women, everywhere. His name? Lawrence Anini, nicknamed The Law. Lawrence was born in 1960, and as you know, that was around the time that Nigeria gained independence. So the country is kind of like broken a bit. After being enslaved for so long, just gained their independence back, and there's been this huge war for your freedom. So like the government, they're still trying to get a hold of things. They're trying to have some stability, have some laws in place, and also protect the people from further intrusions. So the poor, the mass, basically at that point, everyone was poor. Just a couple of people were rich, like the politicians, the business people, the well-traveled ones, the aristocrats. Like those were people with money, but everyone else was living through it. So Lawrence is born around this time, and he's born into serious poverty. The kind of poverty where you don't know where your next meal's coming from or when. But regardless of his status in the society or in life, he was super smart, extremely smart. So they say he was a very smart kid. And he didn't really like school because I don't know if you've noticed, when you're born into like serious poverty, you feel like spending hours in school is a waste of time because you could be on the street hustling for money to take care of yourself and your family. So he's like, I don't want to do this. School? No, he drops out of school. At that time, he's a teen. He's just hanging on the street, rolling with the wrong crowds and whatever you can do. And oh, I forgot to mention, he was born and raised in Edo State. So this whole thing happened in Edo, but it affected the entire country. One last thing before I proceed with the story. I don't know if you listened to my previous episodes. I have issue with names, so I always try to keep the people involved in the case, keep their names to first names only or even abbreviation. So I will call Lawrence Anini Lawrence for the most part of the episode, or The Law. And every other person's names, I will keep it to first name as well. So let's get back to the story. This happens in Edo State in the 1980, and by the time it's 1980, Lawrence is already a taxi driver. He's been hustling on the street for so long. He was always stealing like petty theft. You leave your chicken out, it's gone. You tie your goat to the tree, you come back, the goat's gone, the tree's gone. You leave anything out, Lawrence would assume that you left it for him. He would take it. By the time he's 20 or almost 20, He learns how to drive and he becomes a taxi driver. Fun fact, what do you think taxi drivers know the most as taxi drivers? I'll give you 10 seconds to think. What do taxi drivers know the most than anyone? Did you get it? Okay, now let's see if your answer was same as mine. Because I'd say they know the city better than anyone else. They literally know the nooks and crannies of the city. Every blind spot, every hiding spot, every popular spots, they know it. So during this time around the late 1970s and early 1980s, the young men of that time, they're like, this country is not really favoring us. The rich are still getting richer and the poor are still getting poorer. So you know what we're going to do? We're not going to try to make our own. We'll just go to the rich and get it from them. You made enough? Well, now it's time to share with us. We'll take it. Crime was on the rise every day because the country is trying to rebuild itself. The authorities are focusing their attention somewhere else, protecting the country from intruders and also able to protect themselves from any type of external attacks. So the citizens, they're basically like in the blind spot because the authorities don't really have their time at the time. So people were just robbing, they were stealing, they were killing, they were doing lots of things. And only the extremely dumb ones were getting caught because the average ones, the smart ones, they got away with it. If you're a young man, you're strong, you're healthy, and you're not stealing or robbing people at that time, there's something wrong with you. So Lawrence is like, I just found my calling. I'm smart, I'm young, and I know the city layout better than anyone else, so sign me up. Lawrence graduates from petty theft to armed robbery. Guess where he got his weapon from? A police officer. Yep, he got his weapon from a police officer. And the weapons he would own in the future because the group grows like super big. So the weapon he gets for all his gang members, still the police officer. Lawrence starts and he's like, what is making others get caught? Oh, because they can't wear all the hats. I know I'm smart, but I'm not that smart. I can't wear all the hats, so I need to delegate. Lawrence gets himself a whole team. At some point, there were up to 20 gang members. Among these gang members, there were the drivers who were in charge of going to the location and the getaway. And there were also the lookouts who made sure that they were on the lookout while the heist was taking place. And they also had the arms guy who actually did the robbing. And they had the informants who, got them information on the right place to rob. And they also got accomplices and they had spies. Literally, they had spies. So he's like, if I'm gonna do this, I better do it right. Now, Lawrence everywhere was fair game. There were no, this place is off limit. He would rob banks, he would attack police stations, he would attack police at checkpoints, he would rob people at their homes. He literally attacked anywhere and anytime he wanted. So once it was like before nightfall, all the shops are closed due to the fear of the law. Once it's dark, the streets are dry. Literally no one on the street anymore because no one wants to run into him or his goons. I would try to paint a picture of how he operated to better understand how this man was able to even attack police officers. Literally, if he runs into them on the road, he would attack them without caring. So this is how I think it would go. Like, this is not history, this is my personal assumption, given that I watched Money Heist on Netflix, the Netflix Spanish series. So this is my personal assumption. Don't quote me on it. It's not history or what the record says that happened. Now, Lawrence had a right-hand man. He had a right-hand man that was called Monday. I will just tell you his first name only. His name was Monday. And He was literally like the right-hand man. Like I said before, he had the getaway guys, the lookouts, the informants, the accomplices, the spies. This is how they'd operate. Lawrence would decide when he feels like going on a heist. Let's go rob a bank. Yeah, let's do that. Okay? Lawrence decides when or how they attack, and he would consult with Monday, who is his right-hand man, to see if that's a good idea or not, or if it's the right time or not. And then they would pass down the mantle to the informants, who would inform them on the best place to hit. Let's hit some place this weekend. They're like, say no more. I know this place. Once they find a good place, Lawrence and Monday would go to the place to make sure that the informant's information is actually legit. And while they're there, they would find themselves an accomplice. Hey, come over here. I'm robbing this place during the weekend. I'd like for you to leave the door open for me, and I'll give you 15 naira. Ooh, 15 naira. Yes, good. I'll do it. I'll give you a card if you leave the door open for me, and they'll do that. And once that's done, they have an accomplice there, so they know they have free entry or free exit to and from the place. They would proceed to call up their spy guy. Gling gling, Officer A. Yes, we're hitting this place. I'm sure someone's gonna call you to tell you that they're being robbed. Can you say, cut your hair during that time so you don't come here on time? Or maybe pour some water into your gas tank. Do whatever, but don't come on time, okay? Give us time to rob and we'll send you 15 naira. That good? Yeah. The spy, being the police officer, would make sure that he doesn't show up on time. And if someone else is taking over the case and not the spy himself, his job is to find a way to inform them that someone's coming. Basically that. Delay the authorities. And then they would go, the arms guy or the henchman, they'll be the one to carry out the heist, and the getaway guy would take them away, and the lookout would always be on the lookout. End of assumption. They would hit banks, they would steal hundreds of thousands of naira, which back then were fortunes. But because, again, big crowd, people are not getting huge cuts. So if they steal a fortune and they share it among everyone, which is like 20 or more, people are left with little money, so they have to hit again and again and again. And then one time, they were making their escape from where they were robbing. They were robbing the highway, because highway as well, yeah, territory, that was one of their territories. So they're robbing the highway. They robbed everyone, and they're about to make their escape. On their way, trying to escape, they run into a police checkpoint, which is very, very often, highways, you need police checkpoints. So they get there, and the police, they already heard something is happening up ahead, because gunshot sounds and all. So they're pretty prepared. So as they're coming full speed, they know, okay, this must be the robbers that were shooting just up there. And they know who it is anyway. They don't need to guess. It's Anini. They're like trying to stop them. And Anini's like, who are you? And they open fire at the policeman. They shot at the policeman, and they killed a couple, and some were able to take cover. And Anini's like, a couple men down, they don't need all this vehicle anymore. Take the trucks. So his goons, they take the police trucks. That upped their game. Imagine pulling up to wherever you're robbing in a police truck. No one's gonna think you're here to rob them. Or you could send your goons in there. They're robbing, they call the police, and then you pull up in the police truck. And they're like, oh my God, thank God, the police is here. And then your goons get out into the police truck to make their escape. Can you imagine how traumatizing that is? At this point, everyone's tired. It's been years of Anini's reign. He's always on the news constantly, always on the news. There were headlines like, Anini hits again. And people are just wondering, why is this man not caught? Why is he not caught? So at this point, people are saying the only way that he is unable to be caught is because he has some ritual powers or ritual protection. And others were like, no, it's because of his connection to the corrupt policeman. So at this point, like, the people are super tired, and the leaders of the Edo state at the time, they contacted the president and they're like, please, we need help. Send help. So the IG at the time, his name was Etamiyang, he deployed special task force to go help. When they arrived there, it wasn't long before Anini and his goons were caught. When they arrived, they got further information about how they operated and the sheer size of their gang. So they decided, we have to hit them. And when we hit them, we should make sure we hit them all at once. We don't want to tip off some while we catch some. So they put it out like to the people, if you have any information about their whereabouts or how they operate or where they are, please come to us. And the people started to tell them what they knew, and eventually some locals, they tipped off the special task unit that they believe Anini and his members were staying at certain places. So they organized a raid and they hit them all simultaneously, like bam, 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 and they caught them. So when they caught them, that's when Anini and some of his gang members were able to tell them the identity of the officer who had been helping them, and that all their weapons were from this officer. And they were charged, they were taken to court, and some of Anini's gang members, they turned on him and they told the authorities or the prosecutors things that weren't even public knowledge that were damning to get lesser punishments. Anini is arrested in December 1986. He was charged with multiple counts of armed robbery, murder, conspiracy, and possession of firearm. During his court trial, most of the bank managers, the highway robbery survivors, even the home invasion survivors, and basically everyone he attacked that were willing to speak up about it in court, they were witnesses. And also, like I said before, some of his gang members who turned on him and testified in exchange for lesser punishment. Due to the nature of how the whole thing happened and how embarrassing it was for basically everyone, the police decided to use Anini and his members as a warning, to every other criminals out there. If you're busy doing this and you get caught by us, this is your fate. So in March 1987, Anini was executed publicly at Bar Beach in Lagos. The reason he was executed publicly, like I said, the police wanted it to be a spectacle, a warning to everyone out there. Don't do crime, but if you do and we catch you. He was sentenced to death by firing squad. If you don't know what that is, it's basically you're sitting duck and you're just like waiting to be shot by a whole squad of policemen with ammunition whose purpose or goal is to basically kill you. Now today, there are different ways it's been done. One of the ways it's done is to help with the whole trauma of it, because it's traumatizing for this policemen sometimes to know that they're there to kill someone and they're all like going to town into someone. Some of them get traumatized because it's one thing to kill out of defense and it's another thing to kill because, it's an evil person that you have to rid the people of. So these days, they usually have the weapon and some has ammunition in it and some don't. So the officers would just randomly grab a weapon. And if your weapon happens to have ammunition or not, you don't know until it's time to fire. And then everyone fires. And if you have ammunition in yours, then you get to shoot. If you don't, then it's just blank. Nothing happens. Back then, everyone's got like a whole cartridge of ammunition and they're like ready, set, go, and they go to town into you. And that's how Lawrence and his right-hand man Monday and the police officer, the inside man, him as well, and a couple others of his team members, they were sentenced to death by firing squad. And it's gruesome to think about it, but also the terror, the death, sometime before Anini was caught, there was the murdering of a Bendel State commissioner, and the police believed that that was Anini's work. But when he was caught, he said, "No, I did not kill him." I completely missed that. I don't know what I was reading or if my mind was just focused on the law, but Bendel State. Yeah, I had to check that real quick. Bendel State was a state in Nigeria. It was right next to Edo State and Delta State. But in 1991, it was being split in half, and part of it was now a part of Edo State and the other was part of Delta. So that's why we don't have Bendel anymore. I didn't even know that. Gen Z, I didn't know. This case is how I knew just now. He said, "I did not kill that commissioner. That wasn't me." But the authorities kept insisting that that in fact was one of his handwork. This whole capture and execution, it turned into a media spectacle. It was all over the news. At last, the law has been caught, and he turned into some sort of urban legend because I don't think the younger generation knows him or have ever heard of him, because I didn't until I researched this case. Songs were made about him, books were written about him, but I just want people to know about this case because it happened. That's all I have for you on this case. It's wild, and that's not even full deep dive because, like I said before, it's old case. There's so much information one can get about it, but this was like what I could gather from the source materials, and I believe it's funny to me in a way. It's not a funny thing, but knowing that this happened, because you just don't think that Africans think like that. Think Nigerians are like that. Yeah, it happened. We had a Nigerian James Bond, and the world doesn't even know it. So if you found this case interesting, you have opinions, you have informations that I wasn't aware of or didn't include in the case, if anything was misrepresented, if anything was miscommunicated, anything that was untrue in the story that I just narrated, please accept my offer of allegedly now. Anything that sounds untrue, I didn't mean to spread wrong information. I just hope that most of the things in this story that has been presented today are presented true to real life events. And please do your own research. I will see you in the next one. Please stay safe. Don't form a gang. Don't form a gang. Okay? Be a good person. It's not hard. It's hard, but try. Okay? Try and leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment box below. I will respond to them and tell me what story you'd like me to talk about next, because I really don't know. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe. Bye.